Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to Queen Amadai TV presents True Crimes. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. If you haven't been receiving your notifications, please double check to make sure you are still subscribed to this channel. Okay? All right. Hello, FBA Goddess, Cutie Tootie, Fight for Black, Cherokee Descendant King. Okay, Misfits, Yvette, October Opal, Queen Adia. All right, Terry, Cutie Tootie, Conscious Outlaw is Black, M is Blessed, General Overture is Black, Cliff, Patrick, J Love the Queen, and Queen Candy J. Let's get into it, people. So this is a story about a transgender man by the name of Teena Brandon, who was killed. Hello, Beatzilla, Rosalind, Tamisha. He was killed after he was raped, and he was going to testify against some people. And this happened in, I believe, 1993, but let's talk about it. Now, they made a movie about this. Some of you may have seen it, starring Hilary Swank, who's a very good actress. She played in that other movie, $1 Million Baby, about the female boxer. Yeah, that was a good movie too, right? So anyway, it's the inconvenient truth about Teena Brandon. Now, Teena Brandon is remembered today as the female to male transgender victim of a brutal murder motivated by transphobia. When she was 18 years old, 3 years prior to her death, she had been admitted to a crisis center as a result of a drug overdose, which may have been intentional at the time. You see, she was seriously underweight and had an eating disorder and was taking 7 showers a day with 7 complete changes of clothing. Obviously, she had OCD as well. She was drinking heavily. She faced 12 pending charges for forgery and a possible charge for sexual assault on a minor, was suffering from a recent unreported and untreated rape, and she was involved in an ongoing sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl in which she was passing as a male. Now, she reported to therapists that as a child, she had been a victim of years of sexual abuse perpetuated by male members of her own family, according to her biographer, and she was diagnosed with a mild gender identity dysphoria. And this was reported by her, she reported to her friends that she wanted a sex change operation. That had also been suggested. Now, so they say, I want to talk about an inconvenient truth. I want to talk about the fact that the person was named Teena Brandon. She was a survivor of incest. You won't hear this mentioned in Boys Don't Cry. And you won't hear it mentioned in the documentary called The Teena Brandon Story. You won't read about it in the current Wikipedia entry. It is like inconvenient to mention that. Inconvenient means causing trouble or difficulties. The inconvenient truth of Brandon's incest history causes trouble because incorporating information about child sexual abuse in the narrative of her life pathologizes the transgendered identity adopted by Brandon and for which she has become an icon. Now, this is perceived as disrespectful and transphobic, as an attack on Brandon's identity and a posthumous attempt to appropriate a victim's identity. So with that all being said, let me just talk about that in layman's terms. You know, there are a lot of people who are members of LGBT and they have been molested as children. So some people say they believe that is why they become members of LGBT. Now, a lot of those members don't want to take that narrative. They want to say that, in fact, they were born this way, or this is just the way they are. They don't want to say that, oh, because I was a victim of being molested as a child, that this is what made me this way. Although, in my opinion, it's true. Now, I'm not saying for all of them, but for some of them, I absolutely think that's the problem. Billy Porter, or shall I call him Silly Porter, as I ought to do, he says that he was molested as a kid, but he doesn't seem to think that that has anything to do with his lifestyle. Maybe it doesn't, but in some cases, I think that's absolutely the case. You see, if you are a female who is molested as a young child by men, that would lead you to possibly have a disdain, a dislike, or an aversion to men. Likewise, if it happens to a boy. So that's just how I think. That's what many people think. And not saying that everybody who's a member of LGBT has those things happen to them, or they are that way because that happened to them. But in some cases, I believe it is absolutely the truth. And I think that is the case with Teena Brandon, because She was molested by her own family members as a child, and I think that played a lot into the role of how she became. Okay. So anyway, let me continue, and everyone, please get the likes up. Please get the likes up. Melanie Brown said, "Knicker reporter." Okay, now inconvenient truths have a way of remaining unarticulated because they exist outside of the frame of reference that has been established. Now, the first difficulty one encounters in telling this inconvenient truth about Teena Brandon is the issue of pronouns. You see, Brandon was sexually abused as a female child, born biologically female, but an adult male perpetrator who was a family member. Now, the gender of victim and perpetrator are clinical details that are critical to the understanding of the perpetration and the impact it had on Brandon. Because of this, I will be using a female pronoun to refer to Brandon as a child, even though in adulthood, Brandon was identifying as a male. So they're saying in this article, when they're talking about her as a child, they're going to call her a female because that's what she was as a child. And then later when they speak of her as an adult, they'll address her as a male because that's what she transformed into. Now, this places my narrative outside of the accepted protocol of respectful dialogue as trans identity. I will refer to her as Brandon because as an adult, she chose to adopt her given surname as her personal name. In titling this paper, I have used her legal given name, Teena Brandon. All right, so let's talk about the incest. Now, in Aphrodite Jones's biography titled All She Wanted, the first narration of the sexual abuse shows up in an interview with Sarah Gap, Brandon's best friend, when Brandon was only 12. Now, she at the time told me that one of her relatives was doing something to her that she didn't like. So obviously this is a person who knew her from childhood. So she just kind of said that, you know, he would kind of whip his thing out and kind of play with it a little bit. And she said occasionally he'd have her touch him, and then he would play with her and tell her, "Oh, you like it. You know, this feels good. You know, you don't want me to stop." Now, according to Sarah, at that point in time, she didn't want anyone to know what was happening. She didn't want the guy mad at her. She was embarrassed. No matter what he did to her, she still loved him also because he was a relative, right? Now, Brandon's therapist later confirmed the story of the abuse, adding that, according to Brandon, the sessions of abuse would last for hours and that the molestation continued for a period of years, from childhood into adolescence. And in one counseling session, Brandon confronted her mother, Joanne, about it, but requested that she not confront the perpetrator, who may have been one of Joanne's relatives. Brandon's sister, Tammy, also a victim, confirmed Brandon's account. It is possible that this abuse was a factor in Brandon's decision to leave home at the age of 16, to get a job and to move in with her then girlfriend, Tracy Bills, who was an older classmate. Now, in her book, Victimized Daughters, Incest and the Development of the Female Self, Janet Liebman Jacobs states that incest represents the most extreme form of sexual objectification of the female child in patriarchal culture. Now, she makes a compelling case for the fact that incest has a major impact on female personality development, including gender identity. So I'm going to skip through all of this. And we're going to get down to the part where Teena Brandon, I'm going to also play an interview. I have part of an interview. About what happened. Damn dirty, low down. Oh, yes, honey. They were dirty and low down. Okay? Yes. So I'm going to play part of an interview that she did with the police, which sounded very demeaning to me. It sounded like the policeman was trying to just demean her even further. I mean, these people in this little hick town that she was in, they clearly all seemed, well, many of them, not all, but they clearly seemed like they had a big problem with LGBT people back then. I thought it was all so crazy. So anyway, okay, so Teena Brandon was living in Lincoln, Nebraska. And now she was actually born December 12th of 1972. She died December 31st of 1993 in Humboldt, Nebraska. She was biologically a female, individual who lived his life as a male and was murdered by two former friends after they discovered that he was actually born a female. Teena and his story have been at the center of academic and public debates concerning gender and sexuality rights. While it's unclear whether Teena identified as transgender advocates and scholars have hotly debated the nuances of his story and claimed that his embodied experiences indicative of the continuing struggles of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer communities, hence LGBTQ. Now, Brandon was raised along with his sister by a single mom who lived off of disability payments. His father had been killed in an accident when he was born, and it was later determined that he and his sister had suffered years of sexual abuse at the hands of their uncle. Brandon rejected traditional female gender roles at an early age, adopting male dress and habits and dating women beginning even in adolescence. Now, he was expelled from high school, and from his late teen years, largely supported himself with menial jobs and petty crimes, usually presenting as a male. He had a number of romantic relationships with biological females, whom many of were not aware of his biological sex due to his use of male alliances and his masculine physical appearance. Now, following a number of convictions for check fraud that resulted in sentences of probation, Teena moved to Falls City, Nebraska in November of 1993. There, identifying as a male, he found shelter with a young single mother, Lisa Lambert, with whom, by some accounts, he also had a romantic relationship. Absolutely, cutie tootie. Now, he fell in with a group of young people that included John Lotter and Marvin T. Neeson, both of whom had criminal backgrounds. Now, Teena also began dating a young woman named Lana Tisdale. However, by December of 1993, he had again been arrested for check fraud. A court appearance and subsequent notice in the local newspaper revealed his birth name and thus his biological sex. So that's how the cat got out of the bag. People found out, wait a minute, this is not really a dude, this is a girl. Now, this revelation infuriated Lotter and Neeson. Those were the two dudes he'd been hanging out with, who had viewed Teena as biologically male. On the one night on December the 24th, the two men attacked Teena at a Christmas Eve party at Neeson's home, forcibly disrobing him to reveal his biological sex to the guests at the party. Can you imagine how embarrassed that is? Like, they just snatched his clothes off right there in front of everybody to prove, hey, he was born a woman. Okay, so in the early hours of the next morning, they kidnapped Teena and raped him before bringing him back to Neeson's home. Teena reported the rape to local police and was subjected to a degrading interrogation. Ultimately, no charges were even filed against the men. However, incensed by Teena's reports of their actions, on December 31st, they traveled to Lambert's house. And hold on, before I get to that part, I'm going to let you hear the interview when the police was talking to Teena, because I thought this is so ridiculous. The policeman was clearly being bigoted. Okay? Clearly. I'm going to share my screen so you all can hear this. It says, former Richardson County, Nebraska Sheriff Charles Lau questions Teena Brandon on December the 25th of 1993. Brandon was reporting that she had been raped by John Lotter and Tom Neeson. The police refused to make an arrest of the alleged rape, citing a lack of evidence. 6 days later, Teena Brandon, along with two witnesses, were murdered by Lotter and Neeson. Teena's mother, Joanne Brandon, sued Richardson County and Sheriff Lowe for failing to prevent Teena's death. Joanne won the case, and a judge determined that the police questioning of Teena Brandon was demeaning, accusatory, and intimidating. Now, why do y'all hear how this fool was talking to him? Why do y'all hear this? Everyone, please get the likes up. Please get the likes up. Please like and share. Following is a police interview recorded December 25th of 1993 at the then Richardson County.
Which way was he standing? Beside you, behind you, or what? How'd he hold you? Then he took and John under your pants, right? You pulled your pants down how far? Past your knees. How far do you pull your underpants down? What do you have in your underpants? Nothing in your underpants?
What you talking about earlier, that sock, but no, you pulled pants down.
You didn't have a sock. You run around once in a while with a sock in your pants to make you look like a boy?
Yeah.
All right, so after you pulled your pants down, I seen you as a girl. What did he do? Did he fonder you any? He didn't fonder you any, huh? Doesn't that kind of amaze you? After he pulled your pants down, you've been wanting to take you to bed, and you told him no, that you was a boy and he couldn't do that. Doesn't that kind of get your attention somehow that he would have put his hands in your pants and play with you a little bit? Huh?
I don't want to.
I can't believe that if he pulled your pants down and you're a female, that he didn't stick his hands in you, or his finger in you. I can't believe he didn't.
Tom looked at me and goes, John, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, walk in the bathroom. Walked in the bathroom, John turned around and held the door, and Tom hit me once. I fell in the tub. The back up hit me again. I fell on the floor and kicked me in the ribs on 100 times, stuck in my back. And he picked me up in my coat, carried me out to the car. I got in the back seat just when I knew something was going to happen. I asked him why. I did bad with him. I did plead. Tom told me he goes, you make it easy, you make it hard. And he goes, when after he said that, he said, you beat the shit out of me, and that would happen anyway.
That what happened. So when they got ready to poke you, how was you positioned in the back seat?
On my back.
You was on your back. What did they try to start you in first half?
I was on.
They tried sticking your vagina, and you say you never had sex before, is that correct?
Right.
And which one tried doing this first?
Tom.
And Tom couldn't get it in you? Huh?
He said he couldn't, but
All right. He said he couldn't get you.
he couldn't get it in. Well, I know it hurt. I don't tell the difference. Whatever you're doing.
The person was Tom, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Then Tom got out, and what did he do?
Got in the passenger seat, so
Then what happened?
John got out of the side and walked around to the passenger side, to the back seat.
And then when John got in the back seat, what did he do?
He did everything that Tom did.
All right. After he got his pants down, he got a spread of you, or had you spread out, and he got a spread of you then what happened?
Then he says, got out of the car and got back to the other side.
Well, let's back up here for a second. First of all, you didn't say anything about him getting it up. Did he have a hard on when he got back there, or what?
I don't know. I didn't know.
I'm sorry. Do you all hear what he's asking in these questions? Did he have a hard on or not? After he got you back there and spread your legs, who asked this kind of stuff during a rape questioning, interrogation? Like, this is also sick. Sounds like he's getting off on his freak.
Did he take a little time working it up, or what? Did you work it up for him?
No, I didn't.
You didn't work it up for him?
No.
Then do you think he had it worked up on his own, or what?
I guess so. I don't know.
And you've never had any sex before?
No.
How old are you? And if you're 21, you think he'd have trouble getting it in?
Right. Yeah. Get out of the car. Walk to the bag. That's when he basically attacked me again. Never hit me in the face this time. Finally, he just hit me in the bed. In the back. I think he hit me about 3 times in the rest of the time. And then, and look at got Tom goes, we're done. Take the car. So I just sit back in the front seat with him. Because we're still friends.
And what did you say?
Yeah. We got back. I'll say. Went to Tom's house.
Did they do it one time to you, and then the other guy do one time and quit? Or did one guy do it, then the other guy do it, and then the other guy come back and do it again, and the other guy come back and do it again?
We each did it once.
They each did it once.
Hold on, you all. He said Did they do it one time and then the other guy come and do it one time, or did they do it then come back again and the other guy do it then come back again? How many times did they do it? Like, this is just also sick. He is really twisted in his
You want to file charges against these guys?
Yes.
You want to sign a complaint against them?
Yes.
Will you testify in court against them?
Yes, sir.
Why do you run around with girls instead of guys, being you're a girl yourself? Why do you make girls think you're a guy?
I don't know if I understand.
You have the slightest idea. You go around kissing other girls?
Well, I don't know about it.
The girls that don't know about you think you're a guy. Do you kiss them?
What happened last night?
Because I'm trying to get some answers so I know exactly what's going on. Now, you want to answer that question for me or not?
I'll do what I have to.
Huh?
I'll do what I have to.
The only thing is, if it goes to court, that question's going to come up in court. And I'm going to want an answer for it before it goes to court. See what I'm saying?
Because I have a sexual identity crisis.
You what?
I have a sexual identity crisis.
You want to explain that?
I don't know if I can even talk about it.
Whatever was said at the end of the interview will never be known. The last part of the tape was erased. Dirty dog. It's no telling. Authorities declined to make an arrest for the alleged rape, citing lack of evidence. On December 31st, 1993, Teena, Brandon, and two friends were shot and killed following the murders. Marvin and Brandon and John Blotter. Hold on. This is going so fast. Hold on. They were arrested and charged with murder. Neeson ultimately was sentenced to life, and one of them got the death penalty. The mother sued and was awarded $80,000. Let me tell y'all something, people. Let me tell y'all exactly what happened. All right? Yes, he was disgusting. And did you hear how he was talking to him? Asking all those questions is doing too much. And do you kiss on the ones that don't know you're a girl, that think you're a boy? What does that have to do with anything? Please, let's talk about the people that raped him. But anyway, here's how it all went down. Now, Brandon, whose last name was actually Brandon at birth, but, you know, he called himself Brandon, right? I think his name was really Teena Brandon, but he started calling himself Brandon Teena, something like that. So anyway, long story short, yes, the people thought he was he was born a boy or whatever. When they found out, they got mad. So they went over there to the party, started harassing him, snatched his clothes off, embarrassing him, humiliating him in front of everybody. And then took him and kidnapped him, just like they said, took him to their house or their friend's apartment or somewhere and raped him. Brandon ended up trying to escape, climbing out the window. They caught him, beat him some more, threatened him. And then after they found out that Brandon had gone and spoken to the police about it, because the police quickly let them know that Brandon had reported on them, even though the police weren't going to file any charges. Well, they went looking for Brandon, and they went to the first house of one of Brandon's friends, and he wasn't there. So then they went to another house where they figured he would be, and he was there. And not only was he there, there was a black guy there who was like 19 years old, and he was friends with Brandon's friend, and they both were spending the night at the friend's house. The black guy was sleeping on the couch. Now, he had gotten into an argument with his girlfriend, and so that's why he was there to spend the night. He was sleeping on the couch, and then Teena and the girl were in the bedroom, and the girl had like a little toddler, like 2 to 3 years old. So they came in the house, busted open the door in the middle of the night while everybody slept, and they shot the black guy. He was just there, wrong place at wrong time. He didn't have anything to do with it. He had no idea what was even going on. So they came in there and shot him first because he was in the living room. And then they came in the bedroom and they shot Brandon. And then they shot the girl who was with Brandon, whose house it was. And the only one they left alive was the little toddler. That's how that all went. Very sad story. If you haven't seen that movie, Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank, you should watch it. It's a very accurate depiction of the story. Very accurate depiction. Now, so anyway, this revelation, after they found out that Brandon had talked to the police, this revelation infuriated Lotter and Neeson, who had viewed Teena as that's after they found out that Brandon was born a female. Okay. And then when Teena reported the rapes to local police and was subjected to a degrading interrogation, which ultimately the charges were never filed. However, However, incensed by Teena's reports, they were furious. Okay, Lauder and Neeson. So they went to Lambert's house and shot and stabbed Teena to death. Yeah, they not only shot him, they stabbed him to death. Now, they also murdered Lambert and a friend named Phillip DeVine, leaving only Lambert's child unharmed. Neeson was convicted and sentenced to life in prison in 1995. Lauder was convicted and sentenced to death in 1996. Now, Teena's legacy has been told through a number of media, including documentary and mainstream filmmaking, biography, music. Pet Shop Boys had a song called Girls Don't Cry, and numerous academic articles and books. Teena was the subject of the films Boys Don't Cry in 1999, directed by Kimberly Pierce and starring Hilary Swank, in an award-winning turn as Teena and Chloe Sevigny as Lana Tisdale. Now, it has been argued that Brandon's large archive has created a new Brandon that often situates queer life in small town America in a misleading light. Indeed, as one researches Brandon's life, the images, stories, and documents share a static quality, and without thoughtful reflections on the dynamics of race, class, gender, sexuality, religion, and nation. They seem to make up a superficial analysis of how Brandon's ordeals continues to have an impact on current gender and sexuality debates. Teena lost the right to embody space and express desire in his own way. Because he was marked as non-normative, he lost access to the rights and privileges that normative people take for granted, and ultimately, he lost his life. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to something. I want y'all to pay attention, and the reason I thought it important to do this story is for this reason. You see, Teena Brandon's story is one of the most infamous and well-known and documented stories of homophobic or transphobic hate crimes committed, aside from Matthew Shepard, who has the hate crime bill named after him, as well as James Byrd, the black man who was drugged and lynched in Jasper, Texas. But with that all being said, I want you to pay attention, because the mainstream media, the propagandist machine, they love to deem black people as homophobic. But these hate crimes were committed by white people. Pay attention. All right? They were committed by white people. Those are the ones who are most likely to commit hate crimes. And that's just facts. On Asians, on black people, and on trans or LGBT people. Period, points, and blank. But they love to try to paint false narratives as if black people are the ones who are attacking the Asians and are the ones who are attacking transgenders and the rest of LGBT. Ed Buck, found with two dead LGBT black men in his home, dead within a year of each other. Never arrested for killing either of them, mind you. Because he's a Democratic donor. And he's white and he says so. Pay attention. But they want to talk about black people being homophobic. No, it's not us who has a problem with being homophobic. And yes, we do have some nigger and black people who are in fact homophobic, but mostly, as a collective, black people are not the ones going around here committing hate crimes and being homophobic and hateful to any other race of people, any other ethnicity of people, or any other people who live their life in an alternate lifestyle, as some would say. That's not what we do collectively. All right? They mostly are committed by the white peeps. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, General Overture, it is propaganda. Judah Queen says, thank you. You're welcome, beloved. Absolutely, Terry. So that all being said, that's the story of Teena Brandon. Now, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I would like to ask you all to please like and share the video. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel so this channel can grow. If you haven't done so already, make sure you click the notification bell and click the word all. If you haven't been receiving notifications, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Now, if you could please join me on Queen Amadiah TV Presents Beyond the Realm, because now I'm about to go live on there for your spooky story. All right? So I hope to see you all right back in the chats.